12 minutes to go. Hamilton has slotted into second behind his teammate. The early portents are good for Mercedes. Nope, those times don't stand too long. Now Verstappen is on top and Ocon has slotted into second. Ocon is another driver who normally relishes these kind of conditions. Team radio. Sebastian Vettel, Aston Martin.
We think this rain level will stay for decision.
Visibility is an issue in the early stages, with a fair few drivers having some traffic and thus getting a face full of spray from those ahead. Russell sets a 1 minute and 36.688 seconds to set the early benchmark. So as the clock ticks down, the conditions are still wet. The crowd are bedecked in plastic ponchos, with umbrellas still up. Gloves, scarves and bobble hats are also surprisingly required, with an air temperature of just 12 degrees Celsius at the moment, but the rain making everything feel cooler. Team radio. Valtteri Bottas, Alfa Romeo.
I can't see anything here. Copy.
Canadian GP, live updates from qualifying amid wet conditions in Montreal. Verstappen slides off in the rain. Max Verstappen did not trouble the top end of the timesheet in final practice and went onto the grass at turn 2. Drivers being tested. The drivers are really being tested out there, from visibility issues to swerving off course and missing corners. Martin Brundle shares his insights about thriving in wet conditions. If you're tense on the wheels and pedals, then it will slide more. You've really got to believe in yourself and the car and just trust it. Much easier said than done. 8 minutes to go. Fastest sectors coming in thick and fast, which is no surprise despite the rain continuing to fall. The racing line is at least being cleared of some standing water, although it is a modified racing line compared to that from the dry, to avoid the huge puddles. Team Radio. Valtteri Bottas Alfa Romeo.
I can't see anything here. Copy.
Six minutes to go. Tsunoda is still in the pits and his early marker has dropped from inside the top 10 down to P16 as the track starts to improve. Stroll has been in for some fresh tires, and so has Vettel. Everyone else is still on their original rubber. Team Radio. Sebastian Vettel Aston Martin.
Do you feel maybe rear overheating or just loss of rear grip?
Yeah, it's just something weird. Lots of rear grip. Just weird with the rear left. Feels like something's broken, to be honest. Was the steering left inside down when I hit the brakes.
Improving conditions setting up dramatic finale. There appears to be some quite significant improvement to track conditions right now. The leading time is almost constantly changing. Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas both had a few moments at the top of the timesheet, but it's Max Verstappen who leads Mercedes duo George Russell and Lewis Hamilton currently. There we go, the Ferrari man moves into P7. Drivers at risk. We're approaching 5 minutes left of Q1 and here's the bottom end of the timesheet. 16, Sergio Perez, Red Bull. 17, Yuki Tsunoda, AlphaTauri. 18, Sebastian Vettel, Aston Martin. 19, Lance Stroll, Aston Martin. 20, Nicholas Latifi, Williams. Four minutes to go. Visibility is still a problem with drivers unaware of faster cars approaching from behind. This is going to go down to the wire here, as Sainz goes top from Alonso and Russell. Vettel and Stroll are the two surprise figures down in the drop zone. Times are tumbling and the order is changing with every second. Dizzy face dizzy in these conditions, it's all about staying out on track and building the momentum with each lap. Still plenty of time left, so it's not panic stations yet, but Leclerc is unable to move out of the elimination zone with his latest effort. Meanwhile, Verstappen goes fastest. Perez and Vettel in danger. As you've just seen, Sergio Perez and Sebastian Vettel are perhaps the surprise names in that bottom 5. Perez has just improved, but only to 13th, which leaves the Red Bull very much at risk. Charles Leclerc, who knows he will start from the back row of the grid, is out there setting times. Could Ferrari be sniffing the opportunity to knock a Red Bull out in Q1? Team Radio. Daniel Ricciardo, McLaren.
I'm going to cool the rears a bit. There's space behind. Or is someone
You
pushing?
have Sainz pushing 7 seconds.
Gasly is the only driver to join the Aston Martin pair on fresh wet tires. He is in trouble in P15. It's a shock at the moment. He was a big favorite for a shock today along with the likes of Vettel and Alonso. The yellows are out. Sainz has been straight on at turn 3. Latifi doesn't improve, Stroll is not on a lap and Vettel isn't improving here, he's out.
out in Q1. 16, Pierre Gasly, AlphaTauri. 17, Sebastian Vettel, Aston Martin. 18, Lance Stroll, Aston Martin. 19, Nicholas Latifi, Williams. 20, Yuki Tsunoda, AlphaTauri. Vettel can't do it. He is out in Q1, and that is a real disappointment for him, having shown pace earlier in the weekend. Joining him is Gasly, Tsunoda, Latifi and Stroll. FIA stewards, Turn 14 incident involving cars 16, LEC, and 23, ALB, and 55, SI, will be investigated after the session, driving unnecessarily slowly. Verstappen sets the Q1 pace. Max Verstappen set the Q1 pace with a 1 minute and 32.219 seconds. He was followed closely by Fernando Alonso, plus 0.058, and Carlos Sainz rounds out the top three, plus 0.562. Lewis Hamilton sits back in 12th, plus 1.622 off Verstappen, with Sergio Perez a position behind him. Christian Horner noted that Perez struggled to get the temperature in his tires. Q2 begins. Intermediate tires are the name of the game for Albon, Schumacher, Magnussen and Alonso. Everyone else is going for an exploratory lap on the full wets here. A banker lap on the full wets is no bad plan for the start of this segment, with puddles still very visible across the racetrack. The intermediate runners will need to stick very closely to the racing line to get a good lap time in here. Horner hints that we are nearing the cross onto the inters, and that is shown in the pits, with just Bottas on the full wets. "12 minutes to go." Hamilton has radioed to say it is close to the crossover period, and if anyone would know, it's the 7-time world champion who has an unbelievable record around this track. He's got his work cut out today though, as that W13 drifts through the chicane. Albon crashes.
Albon has crashed. Albon is in the barriers down at turn 6. His front wing actually looks intact, and he might get away with this one. Indeed, he does manage to reverse out, and looks like he's avoided any real damage there. Perez crashes. Perez crashes. Sergio Perez is the next man to go into the barrier, and there are concerned looks on the Red Bull pit wall. But as Albon gets going, Perez is also in the barriers down between turn 3 and turn 4. Replay. The red flags are out. Perez is struggling to find reverse gear, and that's the red flags out. Indeed, he switches the ignition off, and that is the Mexican out of qualifying as a result. This one really is full of shocks so far. Red flag after Perez crashes. Sergio Perez is the next man to go into the barrier, and there are concerned looks on the Red Bull pit wall. An early yellow flag has now turned into a red flag, and the Red Bull driver is now out of this qualifying session. He lost the grip on his tires between turns 3 and 4, and after giving the barrier a fair whack, he just get his car out of it again. Team radio. Valtteri Bottas Alfa Romeo.
Red flag.
Yeah, okay,
And,
there's red flag.
I'm still in the pit lane, so
Okay,
I'm
copy.
at the end of the pit lane.
Copy, copy.
Switch off, I guess.
Switch ignition off for now. Just ignition.
Copy.
Yeah, keep high voltage on, just the ignition off, and we'll come and get you.
Alonso sets early pace. Alonso currently sits at the top of the timesheet from Verstappen and Sainz. Russell was quicker than Hamilton on the first runs from the Mercedes in Q2. Perez's car receiving attention. So, that's Sergio Perez's qualifying done, and he looks on as the marshals assist him with his car. The barriers will need some attention too, while the rest of the drivers are back in the pits. Drivers at risk. We still have 9 minutes to go in Q2, but as things stand, the drivers at risk are 11. Zhou Guanyu, 12. Kevin Magnussen, 13. Daniel Ricciardo, 14. Lando Norris, 15. Charles Leclerc. Drivers at risk. We still have 9 minutes to go in Q2, but as things stand the drivers at risk are 11. Joe Guanyu, 12. Kevin Magnussen, 13. Daniel Ricciardo, 14. Lando Norris, 15. Charles Leclerc. Leclerc hasn't headed out in Q2, and it is expected that he will remain in the Ferrari garage unless he wants to test out a setup change. That all makes sense given he will start from P19 tomorrow thanks to those grid penalties, and that makes 2 of the 5 Q2 elimination slots filled already. Time set for resumption. The session will resume at 16:43 local time, so in just 4 minutes. No further action required on Sainz release. Carlos Sainz is off the hook. The Ferrari driver will face no further investigation regarding the way he rejoined the track after going off at turn 3. Q2 is back underway. The rain has stopped. There is blue sky on the horizon. And there are 13 cars about to slug this one out, trying to fight their way into the top 10. Game on. Team radio. Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes.
So not a lot of slack in the program, but should get 5 timed. So not a lot of slack in the program, but should get 5 timed.
Q2 resumes. We're back underway. The remaining Red Bull of Max Verstappen is one of the first cars out on track. If Leclerc, Perez and Norris all go out here, there are definitely opportunities for a few to make a name for themselves. Zhou stands a good chance of a best ever qualifying, and Schumacher likewise could improve on a career best of P10. "5 minutes to go. Verstappen has just gone top, Sainz is second and Russell third. Verstappen goes fastest. With all the drivers now on intermediates, there's constant evolution of the track conditions going on. It's Max Verstappen who goes fastest with a 1 minute and 27.764 seconds. Still a long 4 minutes to go here. Team radio. Fernando Alonso, Alpine.
Some people reporting track has dried up quite a bit.
Yeah, dry line on the straights.
Norris yet to set a Q2 time. Ted Kravitz reports Lando Norris might finally be going out for the first time in this session shortly. If his team can fix the issues on his car, then he might just about have time for a couple of laps. Charles Leclerc, who is starting on the back row, will not even attempt to come out in Q2. The times are tumbling at the top. Sainz goes top, now Verstappen goes top. The racing line is drying fast, and is almost ready for slicks in places. Norris is finally out for McLaren. Team radio. Mick Schumacher, Haas F1 team.
Mick, these laps are looking good, but if you come in right now, you can do 1 timed on a new tire, or you can do 3 more timed on this tire. You would have to box right now for 1 timed lap on a new tire. Okay, stay out, understood.
Fruit machine finish to come. Martin Brundle says the leaderboard is going to look like a fruit machine in these final few minutes, with track conditions constantly changing in Montreal. With Sergio Perez going out, Charles Leclerc appears to have decided his work is done and remains in the pits. Hamilton in danger. Lewis Hamilton is currently down in 11th in the drop zone. He will have the chance to improve, but it's not looking good for the 7-time world champion. Charles Leclerc will start the race from the back after taking on new PU components. Who can make the top 10? Norris pits, he is out. Hamilton is in the drop zone, can he make it through? He goes fourth, that drops Ocon down. Albon can only improve to P11, so it is all eyes on Ocon. Out in Q2. 11, Valtteri Bottas. 12, Alex Albon. 13, Sergio Perez. 14, Lando Norris, no time. 15, Charles Leclerc, no time. Right. That was fun, shall we do it again in a moment? First though, Leclerc was expected to exit there given he's starting from the back. But what of Norris and Perez? The Mexican will be absolutely devastated to throw away a great opportunity today, while Norris must be disappointed with whatever PU issue curtailed his running. Team Radio. Max Verstappen, Red Bull Racing.
How are conditions?
Yeah, it's drying quite a bit. Still not dry enough for slicks because in some places there's still too much water. But just make sure they are ready in case.
Hamilton survives dramatic finish. That was a seriously dramatic finale to Q2. Both Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari's Carlos Sainz were momentarily in danger, but pulled out strong laps under pressure to advance. Fernando Alonso continued his impressive form to finish second, but Max Verstappen appeared to be in a league of his, more than a second clear in first. Q3 underway. Here we go, Q3 is now underway. The question here is whether we'll see slicks come the end of the 12-minute session. Martin Brundle asks, will anyone be brave enough to give it a go? Q3 underway. Here we go, Q3 is now underway. The question here is whether we'll see slicks come the end of the 12-minute session. Positive performances from Haas. Gunther Steiner will focus on the pit wall right now, but there should be a smile on his face at some point because as both of his Haas cars are through and going well in these conditions. Mick Schumacher went through in 6th, plus 1.938, off Max Verstappen, with Kevin Magnussen squeaking in 9th ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Martin Brundle asks, will anyone be brave enough to give it a go? Who is going to grab pole? Intermediate tires are the name of the game, with some parts of the track dry and others damp. Oh, and throw in plenty of standing water if you venture off the racing line. If someone gambles here and gets it right, then could make a very big name for themselves. "10 minutes to go." The racing line really is dry based on the onboard camera angles, as Hamilton starts his flying lap. He's been struggling compared to his teammates so far in this qualifying, but has he been saving it all for one last big run? Team radio. Carlos Sainz, Ferrari.
6 time lap available, 6 time laps.
The track is still evolving though, as Schumacher goes second. But he is replaced by Sainz and he at least gets within a more respectable distance of Verstappen, just 0.2 back now. Four minutes to go. New intermediate tires for everyone but George Russell, who has bolted on a set of red-marked soft tires. Klaxon alert, has he just pulled a blinder, or is he about to throw away his session? Verstappen grabs pole. That was a frantic end to the session, as Red Bull call Verstappen's qualifying a masterclass, which is hard to disagree with. He is on pole, and he will have Alonso alongside. Sainz and Hamilton share the second row. Magnussen and Schumacher share the third row in an unbelievable result for Haas. Ocon was 7th, Russell 8th, as his slick tire gamble did not come off. Ricciardo was 9th, Joe a career-best P10. Well, if that was the appetizer, the main course tomorrow should be pretty tasty. Verstappen on pole, Alonso second for Canadian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen takes pole position for tomorrow's race. Not bad then, he says on team radio. Carlos Sainz was chasing Verstappen but just got a little trigger happy on the exit of the final chicane. It cost him a place on front row as Fernando Alonso stormed through. Meanwhile, it's a season's best effort from Lewis Hamilton to start in 4th position. Qualifying, top 10. 1. Max Verstappen. 2. Fernando Alonso. 3. Carlos Sainz. 4. Lewis Hamilton. 5. Kevin Magnussen. 6. Mick Schumacher. 7. Esteban Ocon. 8. George Russell. 9. Daniel Ricciardo. 10. Zhou Guanyu.